In 1956, a man walked into a recording studio and spoke for 30 minutes. No script, no rehearsal. Just one idea he had been thinking about for over 20 years. That recording was passed from person to person. Copies were made. Friends told friends. Demand grew so fast that they started charging for it just to slow people down. It did not slow them down. It became the first spoken word recording in history to sell over 1 million copies. And the idea inside it was only 6 words long. Before I tell you those 6 words, you need to understand the man who said them, because his story is the proof that the idea works. Earl Nightingale was born in 1921 in Los Angeles. By the time he was 12 years old, his father had walked out. His mother was raising 3 boys, alone at the bottom of the Great Depression. They lived in a tent behind a row of apartments on the waterfront in Long Beach, California. Most of the other kids did not seem to mind being poor, but it bothered Earl. He looked around at the world and saw that some people had everything while others had nothing. And he asked a question that would consume the next 20 years of his life. Why? Why do some people succeed while others fail? Why are some people prosperous and full of purpose while others drift through life without direction? No one around him had the answer. Not his mother. Not the adults in the neighborhood. So at 12 years old, Earl walked into a public library and began searching for the answer himself. At 17, he joined the Marines. He was stationed on the USS Arizona in Pearl Harbor. On the morning of December 7th, 1941, the Japanese attacked. Earl was one of only 12 Marines who survived the sinking of that ship, 12 out of the entire crew. He later said that survival came with a responsibility to live deliberately and to help others do the same. After the war, he built a career in radio. He became the voice of a famous adventure show. He bought his own insurance company. He studied success obsessively. He read everything: Napoleon Hill, Emerson, the ancient philosophers. And somewhere in those thousands of pages, after 17 years of searching, the answer finally clicked. By 1957, Earl was so successful that he retired at 35 years old. But his sales team depended on his weekly talks. They lived for them. When Earl announced he was going on a long vacation, his sales manager said, "You have to record something for us. Put your message on a record so we can listen while you are gone. Raise a tane during tomorrow." That night, Earl asked himself one question. If I had only a short time to live, what would I tell my children? What is the one truth that would help them build successful, meaningful lives? He woke up at 4 in the morning with the answer burning in his mind. He wrote it down. By noon the next day, he had recorded it. He called it The Strangest Secret. He chose that name because it seemed strange to him that something so simple could remain a secret to so many people. His sales team listened to the recording while he was gone. They were so moved that they made copies for their family. Their families made copies for their friends. The demand exploded. They could not press records fast enough. Word of mouth alone turned that one recording into a phenomenon. It became the first spoken word record to go gold. Over 1 million copies sold. And it contained one idea. Here is what Earl Nightingale discovered after 20 years of searching. 6 words. We become what we think about. That is it. That is the strangest secret. We become what we think about. Now, before you dismiss this as too simple, understand what he meant. A person who thinks about a concrete, worthwhile goal every single day will reach it because their mind will find a way. It will notice opportunities that others walk past. It will solve problems that others give up on. It will attract people, resources, and circumstances that align with that goal. Not because of magic, because of focus. And a person who thinks about nothing in particular, they get nothing in particular. They drift. They react to whatever the world throws at them instead of choosing a direction and holding it. Earl put it this way: think of a ship leaving a harbor. If it has a destination, a course plotted, a captain at the wheel, it will reach its port, even if there are storms, even if the seas are rough. 99 times out of 100, that ship reaches its destination. But take away the destination, remove the course, remove the captain, and that same ship will drift until it sinks or runs aground. Most people are ships without a destination. They have no clear goal, no definite purpose, and they wonder why life feels like it is happening to them instead of for them. Earl used one analogy that made everything click. The human mind is like a farmer's land. The land does not care what you plant. It does not judge. It does not choose for you. If you plant corn, you get corn. If you plant nightshade, you get nightshade. The land returns exactly what you give it. Your mind works the same way. Plant a goal, a burning purpose, a vision of who you want to become, and your mind will work day and night to make it real. But plant fear, doubt, worry, and aimless thinking, and your mind will produce exactly that: confusion, anxiety, a life that feels like it is going in circles. The land does not care. The mind does not care. They simply produce what is planted. Your only job is to choose what you plant. Here is the hard truth Earl discovered. Most people never plant anything. They never decide what they want. They never write it down. They never commit to it. They float through their days reacting to emails, to other people's expectations, to the news, to whatever is loudest. And then they arrive at the end of a year, or a decade, or a lifetime, and wonder where it all went. Earl said the opposite of courage is not cowardice. It is conformity. People fail not because they aim too high and miss. They fail because they aim at nothing and hit it perfectly. If you are honest with yourself right now, do you have a clear, written, definite goal that you think about every single day? Most people do not. And that is exactly why this secret remains a secret. Earl did not just share the idea. He gave his listeners a challenge, a 30-day test. And here it is. Take a card. Write down one single goal, not 10 goals, not a wish list. One clear, specific, meaningful goal. Something you genuinely want to achieve. Something you are willing to work for. Every morning when you wake up, read that card. Think about your goal. See it in your mind. Every night before you sleep, read it again. During the day, whenever you catch your mind drifting, whenever worry or doubt creeps in, pull out the card and read it. Replace the noise with your purpose. Do this for 30 days without missing a single day. You will start noticing things you never noticed before. Doors that were always there but invisible to you. Ideas that seem to arrive from nowhere. That is not magic. That is the power of a focused mind. But here is the warning Earl gave. Your mind is not safe by default. The world is loud. It is full of people who have already given up and who will try to pull you down. You must guard your mind the way a soldier guards a gate. Do not let fear walk in unchallenged. Do not let doubt sit at your table. Feed your mind with purpose every single day. Because if you do not choose what goes in, the world will choose for you. Earl Nightingale survived the Great Depression. He survived Pearl Harbor. He spent 20 years searching for one answer. And when he found it, he said it in 6 words. We become what we think about. Right now, you have a choice. You can close this and go back to scrolling, back to the noise, back to the drip. Or you can grab a piece of paper and write down the one thing you actually want. Write it down. Read it every morning. Read it every night. Do it for 30 days. And watch what happens. Because we become what we think about. And you get to choose. If this changed how you think, send it to one person who needs to hear it. Not because it helps this channel, because somewhere in your life, there is someone who has been drifting. Someone who wakes up every day without a target, without a direction, without a reason to believe that anything will change. They do not need another motivational quote. They need someone to tell them that the answer is 6 words long and it has been waiting for them this entire time. We become what we think about. Send them this. It might be the thing that finally makes them write something down. And if you want more like this, subscribe. I will be here.